Hey people, Indrid here, 3v3 Faction War. This is Argent Shelf Redux and Chaos Space Marines versus Orks. For the blue Chaos team, Hex is a Chaos Sorcerer, offensive and disruptive hero with powerful battlefield manipulation and control, the Iron Warriors elite scheme. Alongside Rambo with a Plague Champion starts off with a damage of a time bolt gun, can get melee weapons, some strong utility and support, can also repair. What have we got here for Rambo? Some good old Black Legion. And rounding off the team, Egewithin is a Chaos Lord, a durable and destructive hero, walking through objects that cannot be suppressed with powerful offense and disruption fighting in melee. Red Orks, Orconero with a Warboss, a melee hero walking through objects, very good offense, disruption and support from the front lines. Tracing down the Chaos Sorcerer there alongside the Tenso with a Kommando knob, infiltrating hero that shoots you, stabs you and blows you up. Orky style begins with a twin link shooter, Death Skull's elite scheme here. And ManOfFaith with a Mekboy rounding off the team, teleporting hero fighting in ranged combat, puts us a good damage with a bunch of Orky gadgets, also known as techs, but I don't think they've used that as their Steam name for many years now. But they are pretty much as veteran as you get, ManOfFaith, although they're not really a 3v3 player, so we'll see how they do here. Found themselves in a faction war somehow. Double the shooters up for all of the Orc players. I'm sure they would have preferred Orconero's Warboss to be in the mid here for boss pole and stuff, but usually players use random starting locations in 3v3s. Kommando's getting very low, throws a stun bomb in and leaves. Chaos Lord starting to bully the Mekboy. No, leaves him alone. Goes after some shooters to tie them up. I think tying up the Mekboy is pretty legit. CSM are shooting in those, so is the Plague Champion, so is more CSM. They should be able to get rid of him pretty soon. Chaos Lord is off the field. Mekboy teleports back. Here come Sluggers with burners. Gives them some power melee weapons if they smack you with it. So a threat to those CSM for sure. Power weapon is an extra damage to heavy infantry. Here come Heretics though with a Doom Blast. Not sure why those CSM are getting so close. There's a bunch of shooter boys back there. If there weren't so many shooters, they could have piled in with everything in melee and probably messed up the Sluggers quite badly, but with that much Daka, I think they feared for the Heretics' safety. The Heretics barely got away. Sluggers, you know what? 3 models making it out is pretty damn good. CSM off the field. All those shooters power through the mid. They can decap the VP, maybe even get a look at the power or decap that wreck point. In fact, something is looking at the power. It's some Sluggers. They don't have their burners up, so they can't burn down the generators, which would be faster. But you know what? They smacked it to death with choppers. So that works. On the west side, the Sorcerer Hex is pushed through with double Chaos Space Marines. Also double CSM you might have seen from Rambo. Egewithin, which I think is how you say it. I believe it's a Turkish name, Ege. It might be Ege with Chaos Raptors on the field. Egewithin is what I'm going to say. It's somewhat correct, I think. These guys taking that natural power back. It was bashed by those shooter boys. Raptors here, I'm not sure if they've been spotted yet, but these guys are jump troops that suppress when they land. Good damage output, 30 DPS per model. Sorcerer tearing up some shooter boys, has Vestments of the Warp to quickly get in there. Counter-initiated though by Storm Boys. These guys have power melee weapons, they're a big threat to CSM and to low-level heroes. It's really going to help the Tenso push through the mid there. Can jump on the double CSM of Rambo, for example, and mess them up quite badly. Heretics will be there to counter-initiate, and the Plague Champion can deal with enemy melee very well. And in fact, we see Blight Grenades. That could be nasty for Storm Boys that jump close. Needs to be careful not to get friendly fire in those grenades, of course. Heretics with a little bit of Corn Worship for that +2 speed, get those guys out of trouble. Consolidating in the mid are the blue team. Not sure where the Plague Champion is. They were just coming out of base, weren't they? Yeah. That Black Grenade could do a lot for them in these fights. If they can get towards the back line where there's typically a bunch of shooter boys standing next to each other. Raptors jump the... Oh, they jumped into Sluggers. Those Sluggers with burners could be painful. Storm Boys in amongst the Chaos backline. Met by Heretics though and a Chaos Lord, and they are persuaded to leave. Pretty sharpish actually. Get away with 2 models in the end. Noise Marines doing their thing for Rambo with that sonic blast of good damage to infantry and disables ranged attacks. Speaking of ranged attacks, here come looters with a death gun. Limited firing arc setup weapon that suppresses targets, does a lot of damage to infantry, especially if they get close, but Heretic's able to get around the back. The Sparring Champion makes it out, probably. Heretic's there to help them with another Doom Blast. There's some Nurgle worship now from Rambo for the health regen, using it to try and get close to the looters. There's a light grenade. Hits the shooters. I'm not sure if it's going to spread though, unless they run into the looters there. They're not close enough for it to be spreading. Noise Marines are in turn being tied up by the Mekboy. Nicely done by ManOfFaith. The shooter boys do get away. I think they were purposefully waiting to retreat them there. Didn't want them to spread the infection. And it worked out in the end. Chaos Lord can't be suppressed, but it will take tons of damage getting close to a weapon like that. Was able to scare it off though. CSM have a big blob here, Chaos fellas. They could maybe push on to power on the eastern edge, but here come more Orks. There's always more Orks. Blade Champion goes down, did throw the Blight Grenade and blighted himself as they lay unconscious, which was fun. They probably love it. How easy is it going to be for those Storm Boys to find a good target in there? With the Chaos Lord and the Heretics aspiring champions, it could be tough. On the west side, Sorcerer is down. Oh. And the Orks were on the power, Orconero. Got a couple of gens and the node down actually. Double CSM with Eternal War for Hex. And they go tier 2, maybe a Blood Crusher on this side. Hey, Painboy on the field for Orconero, which is really helping the Sluggers trade when they're in combat with them. That stronger Git Source heal. Here's more Darker Global on those shooter boys, lowering their weapon cooldown, I believe. Look at that damage though on those Raptors, just poured in from all these upgraded shooter boys with big shooters and knob leaders. That's huge amounts of DPS. Nice stun bomb. Stunned both of those CSM squads. Heretics get in with a Doom Blast, but they are met by Sluggers. Here come the Raptors. Not sure how long they can stay in there. You can put Touch of Nurgle on allied Chaos units, I believe. So they could be Touch of Nurgle at some point if those Raptors get into big trouble. Here comes the Chaos Lord. Did not get the Combi Flamer, but Armor of the Inferno is I think a pretty safe bet in tier 2. We'll see though. CSM getting away with 2 models, maybe lucky to do so. From Hex, who came to the mid to help out. I hear Noise Marines. Oh, Orks fully built up this power, hey? Gonna get fully bashed maybe, although double shooters doing their thing, which is shooting everyone in tier 2 or going tier 2 now. We'll see what the timing is like in terms of squad leaders for the Orks, especially Tenso. Typically want to get the Knob Leader up on the Storm Boys quite quickly, because he's a massive power multiplier for them. Same with the Slugger Knob Leader. Speaking of Sluggers, they're burning down gens. Heretics, I don't think, can approach all this. Painboy is there to support. There is Malignant Blindness, though, you just saw pop up there from the Chaos Lord, severely limiting the sight and weapon range of all these units. It will wear off, though. Of course, Blood Crusher on the way for egewithin. There was not one for Hex. I wonder if they're going for Mark of Khorne Dreadnought instead. Raptors coming in from the flank. Get some good suppression on the Orks, but Storm Boys are right there with a Painboy and a Warboss and Sluggers. That was a tough place to show up at. Storm Boys jumping on double CSM. They did not have their Knob Leader though, so there was no stun involved. Warboss charging through with angry bits. There's a Noxious Cloud from the Plague Champion. It was spotted by Orconero. Nasty global ability of the Plague Champion. Warboss kicking some ass. Big stomp in the middle of stuff there. Sluggers with burners and Knob Leader are really painful. How did those guys get away? Heretics make it out on 5 hit points. Probably slightly less when they started retreating. Sorcerer is off towards the VP on the west side. What is that? Oh, the War banner. Who's down over here? Plague Champion still down. Lots of Daka for the Chaos Lord. Death Dread on the way for Orconero. Tier 3 for the Tenso. Where's that Blood Crusher? There it is. Bloodletter riding a Juggernaut. Has heavy melee damage and vehicle armor, but not huge amounts of hit points. Good mobility as well. Can be a really powerful shock unit early in tier 2. It tends to fall off in its effectiveness, especially in a 3v3 where you could have a massive array of anti-vehicle weapons against it. But it's doing okay so far. Raptors jumping in. Have their aspiring champion now, who has that awesome looking Demon Maul. Blood Crusher might just run through and try to bash the power. It's not a bad power basher, the Blood Crusher. That would be risky though. Stick Bombers on the way for Orconero. Heretics leaving the area. They were trying to decap the wreck point there. CSM grabbing the mid. They need to be careful. Blood Crusher should be able to fight the Storm Boys decently well. It doesn't have melee resistance, but it should chew through models quite quickly with some support. Looks like it's going for the Sluggers though. Sluggers just got their Nob Leader there. There's a Mark of Zinch Inferno Bolts I see. Double from Hex. Huge anti-infantry damage. There's the Blood Crusher leading the line now, causing havoc in the back lines of the Orcs. Special attack goes off. Only hit one model though. And there's a beamy Death Gun. Powerful anti-vehicle weapon. Down goes the Kommando. He's really good at going after single entities, I think, the Blood Crusher. I think people should try to use it a bit more. Just to go straight after an enemy hero kind of thing. Death Dread getting burners and bits. Commando squad on the field for the Tenso, called in from the global bar since they're tier 3. And Tech's also going tier 3, ManOfFaith. Got those double looters, one with beamy, one without. Where is the beamy? Oh, it's back there. Marco Zint CSM could do with a little bit of cover. Rod of Warp Fire in play. Awesome disruption. Here comes the Death Dread. They don't really have an answer for it over there, so they need to back away. No anti-vehicle weaponry really. In fact, there's not much on the Chaos Space Marine armies that can deal with it aside from the Blood Crusher and maybe those Raptors, because that Demon Maul is a heavy melee weapon. Warboss, are you getting your claw? You're not getting your claw. Blood Crusher on the way for Hex. This is a late Blood Crusher, but they're going for it. There's a Demonic Roar. Blood Crusher getting low. Does it get away? It's got some Corn Worship. It's a demon, so it benefits hugely from Worship and does get away. Raptors get the Commandos out of there. They were hitting it with rocket shots from their Nob Leader. Did it chase? Oh, these guys are chasing the Blood Crusher. Think it's going to be alright. They can't turn and fight them though. They will take it down at 70 hit points. Death Dread starts to stomp back. Can go after these double CSM here. Oh, Storm Boys are on them too. They need to run. Yeah, they wouldn't have lasted long in there with Storm Boys on them and the Death Dread. 283 to 336. Mekboy on blue team's natural. Contested victory point is blue. Here is Hex's Blood Crusher, and they go tier 3 with it. He spent a lot fully upgrading their Chaos Space Marines and getting war gear and stuff. So it's Blood Crusher into tier 3 for them. Mekboy doing some more decapping. Blood Crusher's found some Storm Boys and at full hit points wants to go after them. And they jump away. Warboss levels to 3. Just broke a bunch of the ground here using Now I'm Angry, I think. 1-to-1 cap on the VPs. Blood Crusher coming after the looters, since they have a dangerous beamy death gun. I just leave. Hex doing a good job using its Blood Crusher on the other side of the map. This is one where you can do great work with the Blood Crusher in a 3v3. If you constantly switch which side it's on, then it's harder for anti-vehicle weapons to be in position for it, you know? Just go all over the map with it if you can split and micro well. Can do huge amounts of work for you. Looted tank on the field for the Tenso. Great unclean one on the way for Rambo. We got a Nob squad for ManOfFaith. No upgrades yet. Big boom gun shot. Oh, it hit terrain anyway. Looted tank with the reinforced plating. That's bad news for the Blood Crusher. Tanks are generally really bad news for them. It's going after it though. It shouldn't be going after it, I don't think. Just took a shot there. Took a hit. Raptors. They could do some work to a tank on rear armor especially. You get some hits in with that big old hammer. But they didn't want to chase with sluggers there. And I don't think they've seen a Nob squad yet. Plague Champion could do good work against a Nob squad if he gets the Bile Spewer maybe. And fetid armor for the suppression as well. They've also got a great unclean one on. Oh, there's super tough beam, I think, from the Mekboy. Oh, switch to proximity mines now. Also has a battery pack for heal. Here's the great unclean one. Passively damages nearby enemies. Has some nasty abilities of powerful melee as well. Big hits on that Warboss. Almost took it down. Foul Snare could do it. Doesn't want to use the foul snare apparently. There's a lot of orcs lingering around here. They have the west side, so Orconero is looking to support the mid when they can. Warboss gets away. Havoc's on the field for Rambo. And they're going Mark of Khorne for an auto cannon. Good damage to all targets on that thing. Blood Crusher, sorry. Great unclean one just breaking cover there that the Plague Champion was using. Stick bombers. They got a little pixel of XP there. So it showed me how much XP they had numerically when I moused over, or maybe just print it in the bar there. 218 to 324. And we have a Nurgle Chaos Predator. It's a good anti-infantry tank. It's very slow but also very tough with melee resistance. Last Master gets a good shot. Blood Crusher gets shot to death. Lasted a decent amount of time, and egewithin also still has their Blood Crusher, which was the original one. It's almost level 2. What was that? Oh, they got some Marco Zinch. Marco Zinch CSM do huge amounts of damage to a Nobs, but if you can control their movement, they'll shoot them down pretty well. There's Love the Daka. And a big boom gun shot as well. Raptors jumping into the fray. Really jumping into the fray. Slugger's trying to repair the tank a little bit. They're trying to go after it. Blood Crusher's going after it as well. Storm Boys left your screen going after the Nurgle tank, I think. But Heretics are there to help out. Looted tank goes down, did it? It must have, I don't see it. The Nurgle tank barely got touched. Chaos Lord has gone down, I think, in there. No, that's the Plague Champion. No, it is the Chaos Lord. They have the Grenade Decorator because of the... They must have Armor of the Inferno. 197 to 306. Nob squad still going. Sorcerer must have used Warp Fire already. We have the big shooter for the mech. And there's that super tough beam, which really helped out the Nob squad in that fight. 197 to 306. Another great unclean one for Hex. Where's the other one? It's taking quite a lot of damage here. Doing quite a lot of damage too. Should be able to take out a Death Dread pretty quickly, especially with auto cannon support. Yeah, he got wrecked, and there's some Nurgle worship healing up the great unclean one, and there's the other one. 197 to 306. Painboy on the way for Tex, most likely to give these guys some surgery and support them with heals, of course. But they pretty much always get the surgery. Nob squad. And now a Weird Boy for Tex. Bloodletters for Rambo. We've seen Bloodletters do awesome work against Nob squad. Warbanner's going to go down. Raptors level 2. You know, they've done well, these Raptors. This Nurgle tank did some good work too. Got a big chunk of XP in that fight. Here we go. The main autocannon for a Nurgle tank does less initial damage, but it leaves behind this green crap, which is bad news for infantry. I still don't think it's better than a regular autocannon against infantry, because they typically do not stand around in the green crap, and having upfront burst damage is usually what you want. But it's just so freaking tough and nurgly that it still gets a lot of use. 25 hit points at level 1 with health regen and melee resistance. This Great Unknown might need to go back to base, or it's going to take too long to heal up. This one's getting infiltration from the Tzeentchian worship. We've got some sneaky commandos, speaking of infiltration. Now they're being spotted by the commandos. There's a burner bomb. Imperial Abyss from egewithin. Not the best hit, those guys were moving. It's dragging some stuff in though. There's a Rocks. Oh, they tried to set it up with the Love the Daka, I think. And you know what? It paid off pretty damn well. Did Hex just lose all of their Chaos Space Marines? One Chaos Space Marine survived. That was an actually really good nuke. I thought it was going to be bad because they were moving through it. There's that Nurgle tank. And now we have some Mark of Pawn Chaos Space Marines. Who's this? Oh, this is Rambo. Almost level 3. Typically overshadowed by the Mark of Tzeentch variant, especially in 3v3 games, but they are a pretty damn good melee unit in their own right. Raptors found some sluggers and a Nob squad and didn't like it. That was Armor of the Infernos, let the galaxy burn there. Also have the Demonic Visage to debuff units when he smacks things. And the Blood Maul for that. Big old sweeping doom. Chaos Lord should be able to do huge amounts for his team here in these fights, in the big team fights. And for that reason, they should try to focus him down. As you saw there, he's tough, but he's not invulnerable. Where are the Bloodletters? Here they are. These guys can teleport around. Of that awesome power melee flaming sword goodness. They're Hellblades. Tried to get a decap on the VP, but suddenly many Orcs are here. There's some Nurgle Vomit. Trying to threaten the tank, making it move off. I think they're better off focusing on other targets, you know. That tank is so tough. Blastmaster Noise Marines. Down goes the commander. Got chopped up by Bloodletters. CSM get the cap. 182 to 248. VP lead for the Orcs. It's not a huge lead. 60 points or so. The Tenso with the battle wagon on the way. Here comes the Warboss now with a power claw and heavy armor. Suddenly a massive threat that's really tough. Almost 2,000 hit points on this guy. Can the Great Unknown get him? I think they can. Well done. Stood there way too long fighting a greater demon there, buddy. This is so many Orcs though. Looters are setting up. There's a Dark Flames thrown in by Hex. There's some Chaos Terminators now. They might get claws to mess up the Nob squad. I think you've got to get claws here. Look at all this infantry. You will see though. Looks like they are Hex's Chaos Terminators. Yep, they are. So he can they can teleport them around if they get into trouble. Nob squad around half hit points. Should go after that Pain Boy, I think. Uh-oh. Terminators now have claws. And they're going to claw some Nob squad into mush here. Look at the damage. Oh, Great Unknown went down. The CSM are trying to get close to it to heal, but they're a bit low and they have to run. Terminators need to be careful. Oh, Plague Champion now has a Plague Fist and Armor of Pestilence, and he's chucking his Black Grenades as well. Huge push there for Chaos. Is this double Nurgle tanks? Nope, the other one doesn't have a mark yet. And there's the battle wagon. A bunch of units piled inside of it and ran off. Plague Champion gets a revive from the Chaos Lord, level 6. Plague Champion level 4. Sorcerer is down, level 6. That is a big zap gun shot. Ouch. Big ouch. Oh, he's trying to charge, but it got stuck, look. There is a Sorcerer. Oh, they're getting revived right now by the Plague Champion. There we go. They're back to their feet. These guys need some healing. Maybe a Nurgle Shrine. Back here somewhere. Like behind this thing, perhaps. What's going on west side? Great Unclean One's going on. Oh, we got the melee commandos. Awesome. That big heavy melee U-jammer. And they can chuck various bombs and things and sneak around, of course, and deal some good DPS. There's a cloud of flies. Is there anything here? Oh, there are some heretics here to maybe help out, but they're trying to cap, and they can't cap because they're going to die. A little bit of friendly fire from the stick bombers. Here comes a Nob Squad. The Nob Squad can threaten a Great Unclean One. Although these guys are seemingly completely fresh, so no upgrades or anything. Here comes Hex. Terminator's teleporting in. Love to dark it into a rocks there. Takes out the Sorcerer. CSM leave. They know what happened to their CSM buddies last time. And these guys are a bit low, and because the Sorcerer's right there, downed, they can't warp them. I think it's worth repurchasing the Sorcerer here and then warping these guys out. They might be waiting for the Sorcerer to come down in price. Well, they got a Great Unclean One to help as well. Doesn't have a cloud of flies, I guess. Oh, they're not chasing them anymore. Yes, they are. Kind of. Looks like the Terminator's made it without Hex having to repurchase and warp. Oh, they just repurchased there. They might warp the Great Unclean One then if they need to. Bunch of vomits going on. One was a special attack, one was the actual ability. But there's Frenzy. Are they going to warp them? Oh no, they're just going to come and help out, apparently. Oh, they're subjugating. Okay, there we go. Tome of Subjugation. Turns the knobs on their own pain boyfriend. It's one way to do it. Didn't need to spend the red. That tank is low. Need some worship and or repairs. They're both Mark of Nurgle tanks. Level 4 Mark of Nurgle tank. 1630 hit points, eh? I wonder if does it get more health regen as it levels? Oh, it goes down. That one goes down. Commandos inside of that battle wagon. I think there's another battle wagon there too. Look at those Orc rosters. They are huge. 168 to 122. Any chance of a res, says Orconero. They're in the middle of the map. The Tenso is also down far up the map. Battle wagon having a grand old time trying to run things over here. Mark of Corn CSM going after it. And yeah, the Mark of Nurgle tanks aren't great at taking out enemy vehicles. But they're doing some work. They'll do something. Hex just got another tank up and goes for Mark of Zinch, which is very good at taking out enemy vehicles. 146 to 122. 2-to-1 cap for the Orcs. They are going to probably even up the VPs here. But it's been an awesome back and forth so far. Where's that Sorcerer? They are in the mid. Not sure if they can revive Rambo though. Nob Squad level 3 here for Tex. The other guy's fresh, still level 1. And they have that Weird Boy, of course, with Warpath. So they got a Pain Boy and a Warpath Weird Boy to support the Nob Squad. Scary. Tis scary. But you know what? These guys have Lightning Claw Terminators. And I think in isolation, I mean, they're never going to be completely isolated, but even if the Nob Squad uses Frenzy, and I think even if they get healed by a Pain Boy, the Lightning Claw Terminators still take them out. That could change if they were level 4 and stuff, though. I'm not sure. But I remember testing it many years ago, and even popping Frenzy, Terminators take them out without losses. Subjugated Nob Squad again. Bad place to be, fellas. What are they going to do about that exactly? That like basically wins them the fight. They don't have a way an easy way to knock over the Sorcerer, I think, to stop the subjugation. A sneaky Kommando with tripper shot could do it maybe, but they're down. And, oh, there they are. And they've got a rocket launcher too. Just got revived by Tex. Auto cannon doing some decent work. You want it shooting at the battle wagon probably though. It was instead shooting at the Kommando. It's a lot of Orks. Again, tis a lot of Orks. Decapping the VP. They're going to get the tank down, I think. Yes, they do. Chaos just they've seemed just like way slower in terms of their economy. Orcs able to just throw units out, whereas the Chaos fellas not so much. Maybe it's because they've made big purchases like the Great Unclean Ones and tanks. But I mean, these guys got battle wagons and knob squads out and stuff, but they had much more of an army supporting that stuff, it felt like. Great Unclean One did not last very long at all there. Imperial Abyss from Rambo. A decent one. Those guys running into it. But the battle wagons have basically barely been touched. Rambo now has a Mark of Khorne Dreadnought for some reason. I guess to fight the Knob Squad, but it's going to be difficult to make that work without Sorcerer warping around, and even then it'll be tough. You got some more Chaos Terminators. No upgrade for those fellas yet. Comes a Knob Squad and a very angry Warboss, who now has Trophy Rack, by the way. 96 to 96. Trophy Rack is a good pull here. It will debuff the Terminator's damage just by being close. It's basically just a better version of Demonic Visage. I think the Visage debuffs more, but the Trophy Rack just being active all the time is pretty amazing. Pretty good warp fire there. And yeah, I've always kind of felt like the Chaos Lord's accessories have always been a little bit undertuned. I think I mentioned before about the Icon of Khorne feeling a little bit how you doing kind of thing. Not that great. Raptors taken out. I think the Chaos army has been broken. Egewithin wondering if they should concede. These Terminators going for an autocannon. Battle wagons showed up at just the right time, and they've been awesome. I think the double Mark of Nurgle tanks was a mistake. They're nice and tough, but are they going to help you kill things? Not that. I mean, I don't know how much difference a Mark of Khorne tank would have made in the greater scheme of things. Maybe it would have died way sooner and got less damage off. Here's a level 7 Sorcerer for Hex at a level 5 Plague Champion. Again, I think Biola Spewer is underutilized in the late game when you're facing knobs. Very tempting to get that fist because it's so good at capping and stuff. Egewithin with a Chaos Lord who's down at level 6. Level 4 Warboss. Level 5 Kommando. And a level 10 Mekboy. Huge performance from Tex there. Got a bunch of revives in, I think, as well. Super tough beam, custom force field. And they had mines. They had all of those accessories. But yeah, I feel like Chaos, their economy just got kind of bogged down. Not sure what they could have done differently. Maybe the Blood Crushers were a mistake overall. Did they really achieve a huge amount? They basically took away the rest of their tier 2. They went tier 3 after the Blood Crushers for the most part. Whereas the Orcs, they got Pain Boys out. They got those big upgrades to Storm Boys and Sluggers and stuff out. Stick Bombers. Stick Bombers got level 3. Guess they were doing a lot of work that I didn't see. And then the Orc tier 3 came. And the battle wagons were awesome. And he just couldn't get enough out to stop everything kind of thing. It's a fun game. Thank you for these guys for taking part. I believe this faction war just came about kind of randomly. It wasn't organized or anything. But thank you to the Tenso for getting the replay to me either way. and I'll see you guys next time.